Seattle has an upcoming city council election, and ballots should already be in your mailbox. There are 7 districts and 14 total contenders, but there can only be 7 winners. I was asking myself, how can I possibly explain to y'all who you should vote for and why in less than 5 minutes? What metaphor could apply to so many diverse people and be on theme for Halloween? Is it Scooby-Doo? It's Scooby-Doo. In each city council race, there is a city council candidate who is fighting for the people, a la the Mystery Gang, and then there's a candidate competing against them who sucks. And so I've matched them with a classic monster trope that the Mystery Gang might face. Festive! And when they take off each monster's mask, what do they find? Amazon. Scary indeed. See, Amazon has already donated almost $1.5 million to the Chamber of Commerce PAC, which has endorsed almost every candidate that we already knew was just here to serve our corporate overlords and not our communities. Jinkies. I mean, obviously that's bad, but I'm gonna jump into 3 spooky reasons why Amazon dumping $1.5 million into our local elections is a real-life horror. 1, in Seattle, we already have Mayor Durkin, who is a real-life Mayor Fred Jones Sr., a la Mystery Incorporated, who knows about the evils facing our city but would rather find a way to profit off them than do anything about it. And with a mayor like that, we need a mystery gang, aka a city council, ready to take her on. Number 2, Seattle was not prepared for Amazon's boom, and the power struggle since then has done very little to wrangle the rampage of big corporations on this city. They've been wreaking terror on us for years, and it hasn't benefited any of us. In fact, it's been downright scary. So why would we believe that voting for Amazon-backed candidates would do anything for us now? Lastly, Amazon and companies like it donating this much to a local election is unprecedented and disgusting. It's an insult to our intelligence as voters, and it should be illegal. But if they see it works this year, Amazon and other monopolies will do the same thing in cities across the entire United States. And it won't be for our benefit. Terrifying. Now let's get to the real meat of this episode. Am I right? If you're in District 1, you should vote for Lisa Herbold as she faces off against a swamp monster, Phil Tavel. Phil is a classic conservative masking as a centrist progressive, which is a theme for basically every single Amazon-backed candidate this year. He crawled up from the swamp this election because people who don't want to look at homeless people but don't really want to solve homelessness also need someone to vote for. The problem is that Lisa Herbold is already basically a semi-centrist progressive, and she's got the votes. So just like the Swamp Thing on DC Universe, Phil Tavel is as good as canceled after 1 season. When you take off that gross swampy mask, Amazon. If you live in District 2, you should vote for Tammy Morales as she battles the skeleton, Mark Solomon. Like, literally everybody's voting for Tammy because she's a shoo-in. She's a great candidate. She cares about her community. She's just fantastic. Meanwhile, I barely know anything about Mark Solomon because this is so Tammy's race that nobody cares. Tammy spoke at the climate strike, and Mark Solomon likes big business, I hear. When you take off that skeleton mask, Amazon. If you live in District 3 like me, you should vote for Kshama Sawant as she faces the evils of the werewolf, Egan Orion. Why is Egan a werewolf? Because he pretends to be human, badly, but he'll turn right around and tear us all to shreds. Why? Because he's been running for business since the beginning, which is why he got the vote of the trash rich people in Capitol Hill, and now Amazon. It's also why he received literally 600 times more corporate money than Kshama. Some people think Kshama is too abrasive, but maybe she's clad in silver battle gear ready to fight the werewolves because she's realistic about how big of a threat Amazon is to all of us, and we should just be grateful she's willing to fight so hard. Kshama was endorsed by Bernie Sanders, and Egan was endorsed by Rachel's Ginger Beer, who happens to be a white woman with dreads. And when you take off Egan's werewolf mask,
well, just as I thought, trash.
And also Amazon. If you live in District 4, you have the honor of voting for Sean Scott as he battles the spoopy ghost, Alex Peterson. Alex Peterson has failed to show up to like 18 candidate forums this month, earning him the title of a ghost. Honestly, is he dead? Because we haven't seen him. If you can't show up to forums and even pretend to listen to your community in the month before your election day, then are you basically just promising to do a horrible job of listening once you're elected? Meanwhile, Sean Scott is always biking and busing around District 4 and the entire city, always looking excited and passionate, spreading the good word of the Green New Deal and democratic socialism. Then there was that time that Ghosty Peterson was asked about intersectionality, and he Wikipedia'd it in front of everybody and basically just read the article aloud. Maybe that's why he stopped showing up. Meanwhile, Sean Scott's campaign has intersectionality up the wazoo. And then comes the Amazon funding, but all that money can't stop us from ripping off that cheap ghost sheet, and underneath, Amazon. Boo. If you live in District 5, vote for Debora Juarez. She's definitely the better of the two candidates, and she's also like a shoo-in to win her race. Her competitor is Scarecrow Ann Davison Sattler, who earns her title for being the candidate supported by the hate group Save Seattle. Juarez is actually the one backed by Amazon in this case, but she's the one backed by everyone, and Ann Sattler is just kind of there with 2 endorsements and support from a hate group, and I don't really care enough to dig deeper, but she's in the race. And when you take off that potato sack mask, still a NIMBY. If you live in District 6, vote for Dan Strauss as he faces the race of the living dead against zombie Heidi Wills. Heidi is back from the dead even though nobody performed a necromancy ritual and asked her to return. Heidi used to be a city councilor years ago but did not seek re-election amid a myriad of scandals. But her plans got her endorsed by the businesses, and Dan Strauss got endorsed by all the unions and nonprofits and the people who actually make you feel alive instead of undead. And when you take off Heidi's zombie mask, it's Alpha. That's a Walking Dead reference. I'm just kidding. It's Amazon. If you live in District 7, vote for Andrew Lewis as he wards off the monster of Frankenstein, Jim Pugel. Now, these candidates are supposedly very similar, but Lewis has been organizing for affordable housing and has the support of unions, probably because he supports upzoning in his district, which is like mostly rich white people, which is also why Jim Pugel is the monster of Frankenstein guarding his castle from the citizens, because he does not support upzoning. I'm assuming under the logic that it might create housing for people who are not rich white millionaires. Not in Jim Pugel's backyard, which might also explain why at the end of the day, when you remove that blockhead, you guessed it, Amazon. If all that wasn't enough, you can check everyone's endorsement on Ballotpedia, which is nonpartisan, or read the Stranger's endorsements because they're funny, and do not read the Seattle Times because it is corporate trash. You can also check the Stranger for how you should vote on everything else on your ballot because we are out of time. Don't forget to submit your ballot by mail or in a Dropbox by 8 p.m. on November 5th, but the sooner the better, because you'll forget. If you want company, you can meet me at the Dropbox on Capitol Hill at 6 p.m. on November 2nd before I head down to a drag competition. I will be in weird drag, but I'll definitely take a selfie with you. If anything, I hope that it helps you remember to drop off your ballot before November 5th. Together, we can make sure Amazon says, and I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for those meddling kids. That's us.